doing a street cleaning,
All
and
right.
this is gonna be the last time we ride down the street. So once we
Okay.
complete
Hi.
these,
This is Real Talk or No Talk. I'm the host of the show. My name's Cleveland George. We want to welcome everyone today. Today, my guest is a friend of mine by the name of Tim Man 1/29, and he'll let you know where you guys can find him at on TikTok and all the platforms. We'll get there. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Um, Today we're gonna be talking about fatherhood, um, manhood, a lot of the different things that we experience today as men. Mr. Man here an older guy, an elder. I don't really want to say elder to our people because again, I said our people don't like to get old, but this is a very wise man, and today he's going to give us some insight for the youth and for everyone that's watching and paying attention. Um, Please hit the like button, subscribe. Feel free to comment. Um, if you want to come up on the stage and or come into the studio and speak your mind, speak your piece about what we're talking about, I can give you the link and you can come right on up. So this is a live discussion here, and this is a safe space to feel free to be able to express yourself. But we're gonna turn it over to Mr. Tim Man and let him go ahead and tell you a little bit about who he is and what's going on today.
first of all, I would like to say good morning to everyone that's watching. My name is Tim Mann. I'm from Cleveland, 12-9 to be correct as far as that goes. And like George was speaking, we're going to discuss manhood, fatherhood, and the things some of us men go through. So I guess with no further ado, we'll get right into it. So right now, everybody can look around and see the things that are going on in this society. And we as black men are behind the eight ball. There's so many things against us,
Mhm.
and there's not a lot of knowledge out there for us, especially for the younger people. So I would like to just take this format to just let you know how I get through it and maybe some of the things that I can help assist with if you have questions. So the first thing is being a responsible man takes a lot. Seeing as though you have to go through so many certain things, and I always use this expression. If you live in a household where you're being a man at, first of all, if you get up and I don't care if you have a business or if you're working for somebody. The first threat of the day is going to your car, especially if you live in the inner city
Mhm.
where it's a lot of things that's going on. So you get in your car, you head out. Hopefully, you get to your car safely. Then you're on your way to your work of employment, or even to the store. There's a threat of our own kind,
Mhm.
maybe being jealous or not being as assertive and want to take what's yours. So your life is always in the balance. So you get to your work of employment, your place of employment rather, and then you may have this boss that rags you every day. So the stress factor begins as soon as you wake up. Now you're in there. You're giving them your best 8 hours as possible, and you're still being ridden, ridiculed, persecuted. Then that same trip, after your 8 hours, you have to make it back home. The same way you started your day out. Gotta watch out when you go to your car. Then coming home, depending on what time it is, you have to watch out for the police. And by being of color, black, any color, it's a possibility you may get stopped for anything. So there's another threat on your life. Then you get home. After you make it home, the same process. You're in your driveway. It could be a little dark. You still have to get inside the house. Now, this is where the problem comes in. After you went through your hard day like that, you may have a nagging wife, spouse, or whatever the case may be. You might have three, four little kids running around. So
Right.
after you took this beating at work, you got to prepare to come into another fight when you get home. And if the home is not peaceful, it could be very stressful. So what I want to do right now is just break it down. First of all, after you get home, that's where your life starts at. That's where your peace of mind should be. So there are a few things that you can do when you get home. Don't bring the stress from your day home, because if you have a wife, children, they had a day too. So it's kind of hard being a man, especially a responsible man, that
Mm-hmm.
can take away himself. You follow? And be there for that wife. Maybe the food is not ready. You know, it's 2024. The way I grew up, the man, as you can see in the background, he was a very responsible man, one of the greatest men ever to live. And he
Mm,
taught me these things. He
mm,
taught me these things. He'd come right home. His dinner would be ready. Hot,
mm.
man. That 16-ounce Pepsi, rolling all over it. That meal hot. You hear me? And his, we were respectable to our dad. He would
Right.
sit down, ask how our day was. How was school today, Timmy? Or Shirley, the wife. How did everything go with your day today? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and he would put us in the forefront. And those are things that I value. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that can relieve some of the stress, from your hard day.
Right.
Then, after he ate his food, he would discuss his day and make it as great as possible. He never came home angry. And that's another thing. You cannot bring that stress home.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a bad day, sit in the car for 10 minutes.
Mm,
Unwind. You
mm-hmm.
hear me? Don't take that nonsense of your day coming in the house. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, regardless of how much your family loves you, they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to talk about your day. They want to talk about theirs. And
Right.
that's what makes you a responsible man.
Mm,
So, hey, take time with your kids. Find out their homework. Sit and read to them. Really ask them about their day. Not to blow off, I'm tired and I'm going to go sit in my chair and read the newspaper and, do the other things we do when we unwind. But
right.
you got to at least spend that time with your children and the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go about your day. And then you can help clean up, even though you had a long day, by not leaving your clothes all over the house and just taking stuff off and throwing it away. That helps out with the family. And then you're teaching your children responsibility. And just don't let them run wild. After the homework, their job ain't over. It's not over. It's not time to watch TV. Go straighten your room up.
Okay.
Organize.
I got a question.
Go ahead, sir.
So what about this narrative then? What about the guy that does all of that except for have a wife or a woman, and he's not able to see his kids? So throughout everything you said, this is the pressure, added on top of all of that. You know what I'm saying? Having to try to deal with that day to day, especially if they got more than one baby mother. 'Cause, it's a lot of men that got more than one baby mother, and they not able to see none of their kids due to baby mothers being difficult, bad breakup, the politics, whatever it could possibly be. Uh, what do you suggest for that scenario?
Well, George, that was a great question. And I also have dealt with that type of situation. And it's very, very difficult when you can't see your children. Every dad that can't see their children is not a deadbeat. He loves his kids.
Hmm.
But society and even the female of choice, bad breakups is really tough because, from my experience, these women will make sure you don't see your kid
Hmm.
and basically badmouth you. So
Hmm.
this way, the child already has an opinion of you that is not true.
Hmm.
So, and the majority of us don't have the resources or even the time to fight these battles in court.
Mm.
Try to
Deep.
you try to handle this civilized.
Mm.
And after you have a child with one of these females, the ones that won't let you see your kid, how do you prepare for that? There's no way you can prepare for that because that's something you don't know that's coming.
Hmm.
So sometimes, and I hate to use this expression, I think it's a new expression for the younger generation where they say you have to dumb yourself down. I'm not going to dumb myself down for anybody because the word dumb in itself don't seem right to me.
Hmm.
So you try to have the best conversation. You always document everything and receipts, times, and dates, even the times where you're being disrespected. Because in a lot of these homes, has given these women all the power. You have no say so.
Mm.
And like I said, if you don't have the resources, they're gonna eat you up in court. You know, if
Mm.
you don't go to prepare. So you try to do this with the female, you know, with the child of your mother, because I don't like to use the expression baby's mother because I
Right.
didn't grow up like that. That's, you know, I guess
That's
it's a hot thing and it's a cultural thing.
that sounds disrespectful in itself. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, but
So
you also got those guys that have tried in court and failed and feel defeated, and don't want to basically be put back in that situation. Not to mention how it affects the kid. You know.
right, and that's the most important part, the child.
Hmm.
And I believe with that being said, I believe that it's just rough. There's no true positive answer for that. It's like a trial and error depending on who you're dealing with.
Right.
But there's not a book that says, okay, if you can't see your child, that how you doing? You can't see your child, like, okay, well, most men get frustrated with that. I did too with my first child. I got
Did
very frustrated.
did you?
I'm looking for you. I'm looking for my child, and my child is in Chicago.
Mm.
See me, and I did not get to see my child until she recently just graduated. And you're talking about 18 years.
Right.
But the whole time she grew up thinking that her dad didn't love her. You know, I couldn't even find her.
Mm.
So like we're rebuilding a relationship that should have been established from birth.
That's awful. That's devastating.
And,
I don't think they truly understand how how men deal with our feelings. Like I don't think they understand. I always say men are nothing but a ball of emotion,
all bottled up.
and I don't think women understand. I think we need to, what I'm saying, emphasize on that a little bit.
Well, it would be nice if we had any females out there watching, if they could just chime in and maybe we can broaden this conversation to find out their inputs on it. On the strength that how do we know we're not gonna get to see our child? We love the woman at first and they loved us back.
And even if you're not chiming in with us now, you can still hit the comment section. So like we need thoughts and ideas on this. We're just trying to come up with ways to better the community.
And then I believe that the whole thing, yes, a man should support his child. But I believe child support services is the biggest ripoff next to politicians. How are you going to take the money, right? That every 2 weeks or every week or every month, however your support is paid, they get so much of a cut, the child's not even getting the money. And then you have these mothers out there where the child don't get anything. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Right. Go ahead.
And that's without having to go to work and don't have multiple kids,
Mm.
don't have multiple by different women. And the fact is, oh, you treating that baby better than this baby, oh, because you with her, you taking care of her kids. If I come into a place where I'm even not even a father, I'm gonna treat those kids like they're mine.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then introduce them to my children, you know, and don't exclude anybody from the family picnic.
Now you just opened up another Pandora's box with that one. You basically spoke on being a stepfather. Um, for a lot of ladies out here, it is really hard when it comes to finding uh, basically a high value man to want to go into a situation of an already made family. Like a lot of high value men are not even going to, they don't want to deal with women who have children. You know what I'm saying? So the fact of what you just said, right there says a lot about the type of man that you is. You know what I mean?
Right now, I honestly at this point in my life, like, and not even to sound rude or anything like that. Like, it would be hard for me to get into a relationship with a female at this late part of my age that has small children because now they're not teaching these kids nothing. They're disrespectful. You know, I can just look out on the porch right now, right off my set, and see the disrespect. Why these kids not in school? And
Mm,
where the mom at? You know, why
mm,
are they eating ramen noodles? Why are you not cooking them dinner? What are you doing with the child support money?
mm,
And like, what about school events and Just as far as
You can't even ask no woman about no child support money. I heard somebody say the check is in my name and I can do what I want to do with it. I mean, like, how can you argue with a statement like that?
very true, but that's how the system is set up. That's how the system is set up. It's set up to destroy us men, especially men of color, black, or you can pick the color. But it's harder for us. How many times have you seen our white brothers go through child support?
You're right. What I also noticed is the pressure with all of that changes state to state too, because the
True.
same principles that I see being practiced in Cleveland, Ohio, is not being enforced in Anchorage, Alaska,
Oh,
like that. See what I'm saying? So
I
it's rather obvious that what I mean. There's some something brewing in the water and going on. But yeah,
and it's incredible for this country to be called the United States of America. It is the most divided country on the face of the earth. Every state has different laws. Now, how can that be united? And then you fall under a federal guideline that supersedes state.
I
So,
think that I think that word united is played on. United meaning that they all gonna follow the same rule. United don't mean that everybody on the same page.
I
It just
see.
it just means that there's one set of government, one whatever, however way they said it that everybody follows and abides by. So
Exactly.
that word united can be tiptoed on, you know what I
Right.
mean, depending on how you use it. You got to remember that with a lot of these words in America.
Right.
They
They come with the words.
Yeah, you've seen them, you know what I'm saying, twist them and bend them. So
Well, let me ask you this. Now, how do you deal with your situations? As far as the same questions you asked me, like what is your take on that?
um honestly, it isn't the same, number one. You got
Correct.
good days and you got bad days. If I told you that certain things didn't bother me, I wouldn't be being honest. However, I like to work out. I enjoy traveling. I like to read. Um, the fact that I have so much stuff going on, work related, business related, it's enough to keep me busy to where my mind doesn't have to drift off into those arenas. And even if I do think about it, it's briefly because I have to move on back to what's going on. So I don't stay in a state of disappointment
Okay.
or unhappiness for very long.
Because that's stress, and we as black men alone do not even understand depressed or down because we're taught at a very young age we don't get depressed, like, and we hide our emotions and our feelings. But I have never been the one to have my emotions and feelings. You're gonna know if I dislike something, if
I
I'm
agree. Like people like me and you, I think we kind of like wear our feelings. So like if I'm not really happy, depending on the level of it, you will be able to feel that. You will know that. Like you know what I mean. I'm gonna tell you something about me. You probably don't know this though. But when I get to a certain level of frustration, I begin to perspire. You know what I'm saying? So I used to feel like I hear a bell that goes off in my head. You know what I mean? When that starts to happen, and it's just a matter of time probably before I have a moment or an episode. So like when I see this happening, it's time for me to try to start venturing a different way. Like
right, take a step back.
I got to go the opposite way if I'm removing myself from the situation because if I continue to stay, it's gonna get explosive. You know what I mean?
Right, and who needs that when there's enough going on? And then the
Absolutely.
first thing that's gonna happen if you raise your voice because of the way these laws are set up, then they might come to your door and take you on a little trip right quick, and then
Absolutely. But
that's a major setback.
there is a such thing as verbal assault. There's people up here that I didn't see people get put out of their place, restraining orders, and all of that for verbal assault. You know what verbal assault is? If you tell somebody I'm going to kick your or hurt you, or you make them feel in
That's a
fear
threat.
of their life, that's verbal assault. That blew my mind away with that being a charge here in Anchorage, Alaska. So, you
Wow, so
can't.
you can't get upset. You can't get upset and say some things you know you don't mean in the heat of a
Gotta watch
battle.
what you say
That's
out of your mouth.
verbal. It's just
Yeah,
verbal. It's
and,
not
and
physical.
that's a misdemeanor still. So
Wow.
it's a misdemeanor. Yeah,
Well, I can tell you one thing. Back when I was growing up, there wasn't no such thing as that. You gonna take it and shut up.
man. Let me tell you something about Cleveland. People gonna tell you what they're gonna do to you in Cleveland just about all day, every day. You're gonna hear somebody letting you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go
X,
upside
Y,
your
Z.
head. Yeah, like they don't have no problem in that environment. That if people caught misdemeanors in Cleveland for every time they said that, the jails would be overcrowded. So they wouldn't have no room in the jails. You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
way it goes down in Cleveland. Let's just be all the way honest. And it's not a lot of talking that go down when it's up
I
and it's
know.
packed in.
It's what I said. When they hit the table,
Yeah,
they go that charge,
right.
and then like I mean, there's really no way to win if we just have to try to get together. We need more men groups. Especially for the younger men who may not have a father in their life. And just to try to put these guns and things down with all this violence, like there's no fathers in the house. And the females are getting just as bad, especially here in Cleveland.
If you think about it, if they put the guns down and go back to the friendly phase, a lot of people can't handle somebody beating the snot out of them.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's still like they still become angry. Like, okay, you might have beat me up, but I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Type
I
of
grew up with a fade. You hear me? You can't win them all,
right.
but the next day you didn't look to kill that person. You look to go back to work.
Yeah.
Or you just next time if you know you can't whoop them, you go the other way. You got that.
I'm gonna be all the way honest. In the man time that I was on in the gladiator schools that I've been through throughout my experience from 2005 to 2011, I always fought because I felt disrespected and I was standing up for myself.
Right.
So that being said, in my mind, it wasn't about winning or losing.
And
You
stand
know,
your ground. Stand
it
your
was
ground.
about, you know what I'm saying, letting you know that you can't do what you're trying to do or pull what you're trying to pull on me.
Right.
And a lot of those demonstrations, and a lot of I got, friends and people chiming in that was around and seeing these things during the time that these things actually happened though. But a lot of those times I got off first on these people. You know what I mean? It's only been a few times where, you know what I'm saying, somebody was able to get the draw on me
Call
first.
me first.
Yeah, shout out to Draco, man. My dude Draco from Lakeview, man. He got
All
me
right,
good.
Draco.
Yeah, he got me good from behind one day. I underestimated him. He taught me a very valuable lesson about having my back turned when
Yep.
it's smoke. You know what I'm saying? But he's still my friend today. Me and him laugh about that. You know what I'm saying? We joke and he about that. Free Draco too. I think he's incarcerated.
Sit down.
With the-
But yeah, for the most part, I mean, that's some of the advice I can offer. I mean, we can go on for hours and hours just talking about our tribulations that can add on to help society and these younger men try to pull tight and get things together. There's so many different avenues as a youngster if you're pushed in the right direction. The streets is not good for nobody. It'll eat you right up. And I can attest to that personally. Not knowing what you're going to run into. Everybody's not cut to be straight and narrow, but there's something for everybody.
Well,
You
what
know,
make these guys turn to the street?
okay, well, I can use an
Everybody,
illustration.
because all these young men aren't street. It seemed like, you know what I'm saying. I mean, so I'm just trying to understand. The audience. We need to know. Like,
Okay, well, I can give you a few illustrations about this. Now, you can have a household where there's no father there, and you have, let's say, 4 or 5 different kids by different dads, because this does happen.
it
So
does.
it's happening, and it's not as rare as people think. It's almost become commonplace for these type of situations to happen. So now the oldest child might be 13 to 14 years old with all these siblings, and there's not enough food in the house. So what do the oldest child do? Only thing available right there is the streets. So they take a fast lesson in that. I don't care if it's stealing, robbing, even selling drugs, in order to eat. And then when that happens, it disconnects that young man because he's getting hardened too fast. So then he reverts to the street. Then you had a younger siblings wanting to be like him, and he may not explain how tough that is, and try to keep them straight, keep them in school, keep them with clothes. So then he loses himself, and by the time he's 21, no education. All he knows is the street life. And that's a loss of a guy that could have been a lawyer, a doctor, anything, entrepreneur, anything that he could have put his mind to if he was smart enough to get out there and get that money to feed his family. What would he have done with a secular education? You see? So, and that's another part of it. And then, two, you got these wannabe gangsters. They want to sit up under guys, that's in the streets already and try to be hard and tough. And those guys are poison. You hear me? Those are the poisonous ones. Those are the ones that'll get you caught up, get you murdered. And you might be the good guy just because guilt by association. You can get taken out. So these are another type of fella. I want to tell you, young guy, avoid them. Avoid them at all costs. I don't care how much you love them, but hey, meet them at the park somewhere or off basis. You want to conversate, go have lunch. But as far as hanging and ratting with this type of individual, and they got people at their neck all the time, you're putting yourself in danger. And these are guys you have to beware of.
Right, absolutely. They might even be around because they need some help and don't know how to say that from the very beginning. It's like backdooring you into stuff, and those kind of situations are really crazy right there because they got hurt and don't even know
like where it came from
into, right? You know what I mean? And this person ain't gonna tell you the truth because they know that if they tell you stuff, yeah, you're not gonna want to deal with them no more. So it's just crazy to play with people's lives like that.
Right? Life is so precious. People don't realize that. These youngsters take life for granted. Cats don't even have 9 lives, like they try to say. It's one and done. Because I have never seen nobody come back from the dead. I have yet to witness it. So
the only person so far that we know of is Jesus, but
I wasn't there.
Nobody else, right? Right. You talk about
no camera.
You talk about that you seen with your own eyes, huh? Right.
I never seen it happen.
Right.
I didn't seen guys take their last breath. They never been back yet.
And you ain't never seen a UFO for real with your own eyes, right?
Well, we're not gonna get into that. I'm gonna beg to differ on that. I'm definitely gonna beg to differ. There was this one time I was going to Baltimore, passing DC. Me and a relative of mine, we're traveling to a wedding, and so this thing come out the sky. And I'm being honest, this is not no crap like people make up that want to get all that. Some came out the sky, rolled over the water, went this way, and went straight up and disappeared. What? So me and my cousin didn't say nothing for about an hour. I'm like, hey man, I say, a while ago, did you see that? He said, yeah, but I ain't want you to think I was tripping. I'm like, we saw something. Right. Don't know if it was from a movie or anything like that, but I saw something. And it was really peculiar.
Wow.
But I mean, hey, we don't know what these governments are doing. They probably making up spaceships, making it seem like that to scare us into spending tax dollars on a space war that don't even exist. But they are trying to move off the planet, though.
Right. Man, I tell you, man. So I also wanted to say this to get back on topic.
Exactly.
You don't want to let larceny, hate, malice, these things. You don't want these things to fester inside of your heart, man. You don't want these things to lie dormant in your heart day after day. You know what I mean? Right, because it tends to start to change. You know what I'm saying? Make you a bitter, angry, miserable type of individual. So, like, no matter all of the stuff that's been done to me, I've been stabbed 13 times.
Right.
You know, I grew up in institutions. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't even. They be asking me, how do I keep going? You know what I mean? And that's because I don't allow that stuff to, to really sit in my heart, man.
Right, because that's a choice. You can
Yeah.
sit there and let it fester, or you can put it as a lesson learned and move past it and still
Or,
try to do better.
or, or you can write a book like I did.
Right, right, right. You're gonna have to
Um,
send me an autographed copy.
yeah, we pretty much ready for that, man. All the other side distractions, you know what I mean. But yeah,
Man,
we getting it done this year. Here is a wrap up year, man. So wrapping up a lot of stuff, man.
like it takes time for everything, but just to be able to have a format and even this forum to discuss these type of things, it just makes me feel better. To know that there's somebody to talk to know that people still care. And it's just we got to get together and put differences aside. We got to raise these kids, and we got to treat these women right if they can I use the word deserve? Because a lot of them don't. Some of the ones I've run across, and no knock on you ladies. I'm not talking about every lady. I'm talking about some of my situations. So, not coming for you guys, but we all can use to get together and bring the family life back. Raise these children. Be happy. Stop going after everybody's throat. If you lay down with them and you love them, jealousy. Let's remove the jealousy. I know it's hard. If one man can get it, the next man can. It's all about how you apply yourself, and that's what these children need, and these kids need to know. And we
Right.
don't always need the government in our business. Why can't we be civilized and discuss a plan within ourselves without getting Big Brother involved? And see, that's how families handled things back in the day. You didn't hear about all this crap going on today. You
No,
know,
before Family Court 1945, all this wasn't happening like this anyway. You weren't about to run off with nobody's kid. At
right,
one point in time, you married the person that you procreated with. And,
right.
you know,
And you
like
stuck with them.
when we talk about our people from the 60s on back before that, we got to give high honors to those people, man. Those are hardworking family people that knew how to, get stuff done, and they stuck together. So like our problem came from the 70s to the
Exactly.
to the current, you know what I mean? So, if you know a little bit about history, you know what I mean, you would understand what's going on.
Got a plane flying by.
It's okay. These things right here are natural. They happen when you on live. So, you
Okay.
know, yeah, some of this stuff you gotta kind of expect though, but we definitely getting the message across, man.
Well, that's important.
Is there any other important things related to manhood, fatherhood? Because that manhood, that word there, I don't think because you might hear me say I'm on man time, and I've had people question me about that. But before I go into my understanding on it, what's your understanding on what man time mean and is to you when you?
Now you're using the expression man time.
Mhm.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the way I look at man time is just a time to have your thoughts. Just to like kind of embrace who you are as a man, because everybody that's born with that organ is not a man.
True.
You hear me? Every male is not a man. A man is not an easy thing to be. Just because you're born male does not make you a man. First off, your trials and tribulations. You hear me? Your help with society. You raising your kids. You loving your mother, your parents. You looking out for your friends and maintaining a good work within society. That's man. That's a man. A man ain't just a guy. That's a male. Because you got a lot of them my age still,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in my mid 50s because I don't care about my age. I'm happy to get older. So, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of guys I know my age. I grew up still boys.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you be a boy? By not taking on your manly duties and your responsibilities.
Right.
So man time is a time for reflection of your day because you need it. I don't care if it's 30 minutes. You have to decompose. And then you have to set goals for yourself. That's what men do. They set goals and timelines and try to meet their goals and their requirements
What
for themselves.
you ever heard like a guy say I'm on man time? So that's why I asked because you hear a person tell another man that coming from the background that I come from, man time represents a certain aspect of principles, morals,
Oh, okay.
and values that a person is operating up under
Okay,
and,
I can see that.
and living by. Because you got homie time, for instance. That means that whatever the guys, you know what I'm saying, say and do or tell you to do, you got to do basically if you on homie time. Because
Yeah,
if the
I
homie,
get that. Now I understand that more than that man time. What you say?
right, right,
I
right.
stand on that with you.
Right. So basically, when you hear somebody say that, like in a situation like that, somebody that's on man time might not agree with what they doing and might be like, no, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, getting with that. Y'all on y'all own. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And separate themselves
Okay.
from the, you know
I
what I mean?
follow that.
You see what I'm saying? So
And that's a great definition of it. You can see just
yeah,
there's not that much of a gap between our ages, but it's enough for that to show me it's a different meaning. You hear me?
and I
So
gotta shout out to DC, man, because going through my experience from 2005 to 2011, those guys were the predominant number of people. But outside of that, I learned a lot from those guys. That terminology comes from their culture and how they talk in their community. And you know, those guys will respect anybody that's a man. If you got any type of sourness in you, you know what I'm saying. Them dudes, they coming for that. You know what I'm saying. They gonna
right.
emasculate, like
Because you don't fit. They don't fit in. You don't want no spoiled
yes,
milk in your coffee or your cereal.
right. I literally watched those guys, basically the stronger eat the weaker though. And I seen how they treat, you know what I'm saying, men that they deem to be men. You know what I'm saying? A man can deal with anybody, go anywhere.
True.
They talk that. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's
So
a
that
man. That's not a male. That's a man.
yeah, man,
Difference.
yeah, manhood. But it stemmed from, that word manhood, man time. Like, so if you don't even in the streets, because Kevin Samuels tried to teach us about this.
Okay.
You will know a high value man, not just because he got money. It's plenty dudes with money that's busters, marks, and weenies. So just because you got money does not make you a high value man. A high value man comes with a whole lot behind it. He's respected by his peers and people in his communities and aboard. You know what I'm saying? He may or may not be financially stable. He may own a business, may be in a position of getting himself to that. You know what I mean? He takes care of his responsibilities, children, attraction, meaning he keeps his appearance up. You know what I mean? So like, it's a long list of things that will let a woman know. You know what I mean? A high value man. He smells good. You know what I mean? Like
Keep yourself up.
right. Like these are things that I hear. Back in 2001, I was nicknamed. Smell good. Like they was calling me that back in '01. And a
Okay.
lot of females would come and sniff me and I started to feel like a piece of meat. You know what I mean? And I'm
Hey.
like, who comes over just to sniff you to see what you smell like today? So like it was like, so I've been, trying to keep myself up for a while though. But I'm just saying the different things because none of these one particular things can keep anybody. Like I don't care if you smell good every day. That you can't keep nobody just off
Right.
all
Because that's
smelling.
gonna grow old too. So
Yeah. So
I respect that.
yeah. So again, man, a high value man fits. You know what I'm saying? A whole realm of things, not just one particular narrative. I recently did a live asking the ladies to let me know their definition of what a good man is. And I said, fellas, I don't really want to hear from
Right.
you because I'm a guy and I can kind of formulate some ideas in my head on what a guy, what I'm saying, to say. But I wanted to hear feedback, from the lady. Because sometimes I'll be needing that lady perspective to be able to understand.
Because it gives you a roundabout view of how things are. It's not so one sided.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, so I'm glad that you had a chance to come through, man.
I'm
And
glad you had me on. I hope that we gave some type of insight, on this format, and maybe reached a few people. And I would love to be back on the show.
well, you can definitely look forward to us having you back on. We look to you as an elder, man.
I
Real
appreciate
talk,
it.
real talk. We got nothing but the utmost respect for you, and
Likewise, sir.
we stand behind you 100%, sir. So we definitely gonna have you back on. I really want to get you back on to talk about your ancestry, because looking at that picture behind you, I can I can look at him and see that he's Native American.
Yes, sir. Rappaport Indian, and that'll be a talk show that I can enlighten you on and discuss the things I
But
found out.
you look like a black man, but you just actually said what your nationality is. You just told us what your nationality. What's your nationality?
I'm a Rappaport Indian from the New Jersey mountains.
Wow, wow. That doesn't that feel amazing to be able to say that
Man, isn't it? But
without you.
then I identify as
So,
black, brother.
so there's so many so-called blacks that don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because it's up to us to figure out, who you are in your bloodline. And see, that's another conversation right there, because people don't understand your blood lineage can let you know exactly who you are
And where
instead
you
of
come.
having to worry so much. That's how I was able to find out what exactly I am, which is Native, English, and Black. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Without having to go so far back down the tree. You know what I mean? That blood lineage, and a lot of people don't know how important blood lineage is. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is. It is because even the blood type is different. As far as me identifying as that, it might even be another something else in there that really makes me different from just being an African Americans, what they so call us people of color.
Right,
From what I
but
know about, we all come from the same place.
well, now you getting deep here, because you got
Right.
you got the so-called people that came over here, and then you already had people over here. So like it starts to get
Yeah, that's a wide open conversation there.
yeah, yeah. I'm
But that'll
definitely
just give the audience a chance to. I'm
I'm
sorry, I didn't
definitely
cut you up. Give them a
no,
chance to look
um,
forward to our next discussion.
absolutely. I was gonna say I got a book over here. See, when I come with stuff, man, I come with facts, man. You know what
Hello.
I'm saying? So
All
like
right.
I'm always, what I'm saying, to pull these books out. You know what I mean? I got a book that talks about exactly what we're talking about now, like people here first and all of that. Here's another great one I got,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Egyptology. So, because I study and I actually paid cash for these books. I bought these books because in the event our internet goes out or something, we got to still be able. This is why it's important to be educated and to educate yourself.
Yes, sir.
Because what would we have if we didn't have the internet and all of this stuff was to go away?
And
We would need. We
we
would
had what
need
I had back in the day, a library and a card catalog.
right. Nah, we would go back to having a high chief now.
Right.
Somebody who be able to pass the information along. Like that's how it's got to go. But somebody got to
That's how
really
we
know.
got the information. No.
Somebody got to really know what's going on, though. You know what I mean? You got to really know that you like.
Right.
You can't just be making stuff up. Recreating history.
It's all hidden anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and let people know where they can find you at. You can let us know what platforms that you on, and Cash App, and whatever other great stuff you want people to know.
Well, it's Tim Man on TikTok. Tim Man went on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. The same handle. I don't switch it up, but maybe I would change. But I just wanted to be, just honest on who I am, and maybe reach out to some of the people who may not have seen me in over 40 years. So I just keep it the same way. And
Mhm.
Cash App is the same thing. So
Okay.
I would again I'd like to thank you for having me on the show. And again, I'd like to say I hope I enlighten some people, especially our young brothers, and just the men, period. And by this being my first time on the show, this format, I feel like um, I feel like it's a good thing what you're doing there, and I would
Right.
like to be more in tune with it, and just learn a little more from you. Because there are a lot of things that, a lot of knowledge, as you said in the beginning of the show. There are a lot of things that I know and I've witnessed.
Hold on. We got another guest speaker here. Hold on, we got to bring this guy in the studio. How you doing, hey, Mr. Ace Boogie?
Ace,
you got to unmute your mic.
it's me.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Here we go. Let's make it bigger. There we go.
What's going on?
Hey man. You always bring a very interesting perspective to the table. We were talking about manhood and fatherhood, man. You care to we was talking about just the different things that we go through as men, man, trying to see our children, man, and Mr. Tim was some different kind of ways to cope with all of this, man. We definitely could use some wisdom from a very wise man like yourself.
Shit. One thing, we definitely don't get listened to enough, man. You know what I mean? So sometimes, as men, we need somebody, with an ear, man.
Absolutely.
A real person, man, not somebody that's gonna go and use the information against you when they get mad and shit like that. But just somebody to hear you and understand, man, because we do go through a lot, man. I got 5 kids with 5 different women, man. So
I
I know a lot, man.
That's a lot of trauma. You ever had like problems with all 5 of them in one day at the same time? Like,
wow.
like, come on, man. Hold on, I gotta ask, man.
That's a rough day.
The audience want them tough questions, man. Have you ever?
No, I ain't never had problems with all 5 at one time, but I have had problems with 2 of them at one time and shit, and it wasn't good.
Well, I'm gonna be all the way honest with you. I got 5 baby mothers, and I have had trouble with all 5 of them at the same time. I'm talking about arguing with 2 of them through text messaging, and then the one in front of me arguing with me. I'm showing her the text messages like, "Leave me alone!" Like, all y'all, just leave me alone, man. What are y'all? Did y'all do this on purpose? Like, are y'all clicked up? Like, it was just weird. You know what I'm saying?
I feel your pain, but I'm glad I don't know nothing about that.
Man, I'm talking about at that particular moment, it was 3 that I was beefing with, but I never stopped beefing with the other 2. So basically, again, it's just, but I wish them all the best, man. You know how it is. It's tough, man, when you separate from people and
their families, yes.
Sometimes it's bad.
Well, gentlemen, it's afternoon, and like we were discussing in the beginning, it's time to do the man thing.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in, man.
I thank you for having me. Ace, be easy, brother. I'll see you soon.
All right, now. Take it easy.
All right, George, I'll get with you later.
All right, peace.
Peace.
All right. Yeah, so as I was saying, man, you gotta basically just try to find positive ways to have an outlet to be able to you know what I'm saying, not be frustrated. The older you get, I feel like we start to realize this more. Being younger and more high-headed and more impulsive, we tend to just, act a lot off of emotion and out of emotion. But, the older you get, the wiser you get. You learn to use a lot of discretion, man. You learn to think before you make. Well, go ahead, man. We're going to end this, man. I'm glad you came in. I just wanted to give you a chance to drop your perspective on what we were talking about. Can you hear me? Oh, that's because you on your vehicle. You got it on your car or whatever. Having some audio issues, you guys. we're gonna go on ahead and end this live stream. It's Real Talk or No Talk, guys. Thanks for tuning in.